Okay, so this is notes US notes 6.5. We're going to look at George W. Bush's presidency, or at least the first year of it, a little less than a year. So he served from 2000 to 2008, but we only really care about through 2001. And you'll understand that as we go through this. So it's kind of a continuation of some of the other things that we've been building up to. Bush was our 43rd president. Remember, his dad was the 41st president. And let's look at how he became president, because this is actually one of the important things in that first year. The election of 2000, Clinton had served 92 to 96 and then 96 to 2000, and Clinton's vice president, Al Gore, ran against George W. Bush. And in the election of 2000, notice I call it the Epic of the Hanging Chads, because everyone now knows what a hanging Chad is who was alive during the 2000 election. See these little pieces of paper hanging off of here that aren't actually disconnected? Those are apparently called Chads. And see how this guy is looking and he's trying to see where the holes are and where the holes aren't? This became ridiculous, and Florida was the center of it. So here you see 49% to 49%. Look how close those votes are. You have to make sure that you get every vote that should be counted and counted for the right person. And so they were going through by hand counting and then deciding, is this a vote or is it not a vote? What about this one over here? Is that a vote? What's a vote? What's not? If it's not totally disconnected from the paper, does it still count as a vote? This is why it's the Epic of the Hanging Chads. You can see what happened here. It actually ended up that Bush v. Gore, a court case, went to the Supreme Court in 2000 to determine the election. Actually, it went to the Supreme Court in 2001 because we did not have a president by the end of... No, it was still 2000. It was in December. So in November, we didn't have a president. They finally chose a president in December. And so they said, okay, the count that we have now, that's the count we go with. And in that, George W. Bush won. So won by a very tiny margin in some states. And in fact, Gore had a higher percentage of the popular vote in the country. But state by state, Bush was able to win enough states that he won the election. So here we see closest, craziest election. I love the picture. Gore and Bush, both. The Supreme Court showdown. So this was a big portion. So this is kind of set off the beginning of Bush's presidency. So he takes office in 2001 in January, and 9 months later, 9/11 happens. So Middle Eastern terrorist attack on American soil, and not just in one place. So remember, 2 planes hit the Twin Towers in New York City. We also had a plane that hit the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and a plane that was aiming for somewhere else in D.C. that was taken down in a field in Pennsylvania. So 9/11 was a huge impact on the country. It really was a defining moment in our Middle Eastern policy. Think about all the different issues that were building up in the Middle East and our relationships in the Middle East. That kind of built up to 9/11 and then our policy that went along with it. So America, lots of heroism with the 9/11. Very proud to be Americans. Today we have memorials in those places. So this is the 9/11 memorial in New York City, and as is this one here on the right, top right. So they're both the same memorial. This is just a close-up. That's what these walls actually look like. This is at the Pentagon. On each of these little, I don't know what you call those little wave things here, on the end of each one is the name of someone who died at the Pentagon. And they light up from below at night. And then this is actually, the bottom right here, is actually the memorial in Pennsylvania, Somerset County, Pennsylvania, with the names of all of the people who died there. So 9/11 is kind of our final piece with history in this class. So we see this culmination of all our different Middle Eastern policies, and we have to change our Middle Eastern policy after it. It's very different than what we had done before. So we declare the war on terror, and it changes things. So this is actually the end of your notes for U.S. history, period. It's not really the end of history, but it's the end of the content for this class. So